Making up your own technical exercises is a really, really exciting thing to do because it really allows you to hone in on what you're struggling with and progress a very specific part of your ability, which, there's all sorts of things out there, such as, your scales and your finger strengthening exercises and everything, but they're completely non-discriminatory, and what they do is they focus on strengthening everything together. Whereas we might be struggling with a very specific finger, and we can play around and we can make up our own exercises, and it's something that's really, really exciting and something that we can really, really work to improve. So let's make up a few examples now, just to see how easy it is and how beneficial it is. So the first exercises I'm going to make up are based around fingers 4 and 5, for the simple reason that they are my weakest fingers and they are several of our weakest fingers. So whereas there's a lot of strengthening exercises out there, like I say, they do focus on all of the fingers together, so you don't necessarily give them the attention they deserve. But what I'm going to do is just make up a few exercises whereby I use just these 2 fingers, and that is it. So what I'm going to do is put this metronome on fairly slowly, and if I use fingers 4 and 5, or 5 and 4 in the left hand, I'm going to use C and D, and I'm just going to make up a simple pattern. Okay, so each click, and then I'll just change up the pattern a little bit so that I'm incorporating a bit more of the 4th finger, and then I'll start to develop it so that it incorporates stretches. And then I'll develop it further. Just using fingers 4 and 5 here. So that's just getting used to it a little bit. Now what I can do is I can work on holding a finger down, a bit like what the Schmidt exercises do, because what I can identify then is that adds a certain strain on the fingers, so that will help me to help me even more to practice them and to exercise them. So for example, if I hold finger 3 down or finger 5, depending on which notes that I'm doing, so let's say these are the same exercises, but now I'm just holding a finger down as well. And then of course the final step that we can incorporate is a little bit more rhythm. So we can just keep the same notes held down, same notes playing, but just substitute a couple of quavers for an individual crotchet, for example. So things like that, and work on building up the speed to that like you would with any technical exercise, and also consider how it actually feels as well. You need to be able to feel a little bit of a strain. If you're not feeling that there's any benefit there, then it's probably pointless. You've got to make a little bit of an effort to make that twinge a little bit. So if that's feeling like it's straining a bit, that's good. Don't overdo it, obviously, you don't want to actually hurt yourself, but you need to feel like you've worked out. A bit like if you go for a run and you get back and you've got a stitch, or you're out of breath, or you're sweating and everything, you've got all those physical signs there that you have definitely been for a run. You want to know that your hand has been exercised. Another example of exercises that we can make up ourselves are based around the tightening of rhythm. So a lot of the time we do things like scales, and scales are obviously reliant, if we play them hands together, on playing at the same time. But what we can start to do when we play pieces of music is there's not many exercises out there that sort of help get different rhythms together as such. So what we'll do is we'll do a very basic example. Find a little motif, like let's say a 4-note motif, like that, and we'll do it as crotchets, and we'll do an appropriate broken chord in the left hand using 4 notes as well. So that's a D major broken chord, D, F sharp, A, F sharp, and this is a little motif of D, F sharp, E, A. And obviously I'm going to put the metronome on, and we're going to obviously do this. And then whichever hand needs the work, double speed it. So quavers in the right hand, semiquavers in the right hand. Okay, and what then you can start to do is to double up exactly, or to sync up exactly with the notes or the rhythm of the notes that you're playing in the right hand. So obviously we're already doing that with the crotchets. Now what I can do, if I go to quavers here, is play each note twice for my broken chord. So D, D, F sharp, F sharp, A, F sharp, F sharp. And I can do that to sync up like that. And then when it gets to semiquavers, like that. And then what we can do is, if you wanted to take that to a little bit more of an advanced step, is you could do a syncopated exercise whereby you use dotted notes and you sort of fill in the gaps. You use dotted crotchets, for example, followed by a quaver, or dotted quavers followed by a semiquaver, or in this case we can actually take it as far as dotted semiquavers followed by demi-semiquavers. So let's do the crotchets. And we'll do it like D, F sharp, A, F sharp, like that. That's how we're going to do our chord. So see, it all starts to mess up there, but that's okay. See, I need to practice that one myself, but that's okay because we're building it up. It's all about building it up. Okay, if you do get to a situation like that, then just slow it down a little bit, and don't peak too soon, as it were, because what you'll need to do is to develop it, and you'll reap the benefit far better if you've worked up to it and pushed yourself through all the slow practice as well. In this small little passage of music here, we're going. Now, it may be a bit clumsy to actually do that straight away, because if you're not used to playing things with a certain amount of speed to them, then you might sort of go. You might sort of trip over all the notes. They might all merge into one. You might stutter. You might hit some wrong notes on the way down. So what you need to do is think about how we could build those up. And one thing that we can do is to build up the passage, the quick passage, so in this case the semiquavers, a note at a time. And this is really quite straightforward, right? Because what we're going to do is firstly work out the fingering that you're going to take. So this is simple because it's basically a descending C minor pentascale, G, F, E flat, D, C. So I'm going to use 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to start with finger 5, and I'm just going to work with that just for now, and get used to that playing the note. So we're incorporating a little bit of a finger strengthening exercise into it as well. And then I'm going to just take quavers on beats 2 and 4 to the next note down. And you'll notice that the G on beats 1 and 3, I'm making it staccato. And that's because it'll just help you to relieve that tension a little bit, and it'll get you used to playing something that's a bit quicker and help you to maintain a certain amount of discipline. Okay? And when you feel comfortable with that, we'll just move down and do it with the next bit. So F with finger 4. Get a bit of strengthening into that first, and then so now we've got the first 3 bits, so what you need to do is put them together. And then obviously you just work down. Then we're on to D with finger 2. Building a bit of strength into it, and then be able to get and then to actually incorporate a little bit of speed into it, what you can do is find little bits of that. So rather than go straight into all 4 notes like that, or all 5 notes, what you can do is make up a little passage that sort of incorporates maybe 3 notes out of it. So for example, you could go like that. So what you're doing is you're effectively giving me half of the semiquavers there instead of all of them. So you're building yourself up to it. Or maybe you could go and that will all help you to build up there, and then obviously you can start to work on building it up, once you've strengthened your fingers up a little bit. So there are examples of exercises that you can do. Like I've said, that they're just examples. You need to make sure that you are very, very disciplined with the pulse of it. You need to make sure that you are repeating them over and over again without stopping. They need to have this sort of lack of break. You need to imagine that you've got 1 bar of exercise and there's an infinite repeat bar at the end of it. You need to make sure that you are benefiting from them, obviously, so don't be afraid of giving yourself a little bit of a twinge. And also, you just need to be imaginative, you need to be creative, and you need to be disciplined enough to say to yourself that this is what I'm intending to do. These are the notes that I'm playing for this exercise. Don't settle for the whole, well, it doesn't matter because it's only an exercise if I get the notes different this time around. You want to be disciplining yourself into learning these exercises. So take that with you and make up your own and see how it benefits you.